Welcome to the Creative Plan Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim here with Creative Plan Podcast. With me today is Talia and Evan. We're going to talk about a secret message. What is the message of the day? Well, I think I just gave away the secret message. The message of the day is message. I'm just rambling here. It's been one of those days.
You're just repeating the same word. It makes no sense.
That's the secret of the message. So for hashtag RPGaDAY2020, the word for the day, message.
You're just going to keep saying that, and it's going to start sounding like it's not a real word after a little bit.
I'm reminded of the Pink Panther skit where massage? I don't do massages.
What a difference an A makes to the word.
Yes.
And giving a massage would be a total different thing, but that could be awesome.
Maybe, yeah. If the person knows what the hell they're doing.
No.
Gaming spa day. Now that's something that, a gaming spa. That would be a great investment.
You could have 5
that would be
people on
great.
those massage tables where your head is sticking down looking at the map, and you have one of those claw sticks like a general moving your character from a distance while you're being massaged.
Oh my god.
And you're just like, yes, you're doing fun stuff on. Everyone else, roll for initiative.
That's not a bad idea.
You gotta copyright that, James.
Would you like some hot D4 therapy? As they get out the hot D4s instead of the hot stones.
Oh Lord.
See how we've rambled onto something that's a cool tangent? I'm just saying.
All right, so messages in RPG. The thing that pops into my head is Jim, do you remember the dragon game that we did briefly?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
He was the cutest little dragon.
And I had like my little familiar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I would use my familiar to send messages for when we got in trouble.
You used it quite well for doing that. Yeah.
Now, I noticed that I do have a lot of characters that sometimes have, like, not necessarily familiar, but like a little pet, as it were, that conceivably be used for message. I mean, that's the goal with my pirate captain, but, maybe I gotta find a non-venomous flying snake, because I don't think he would make a very good message carrier when he envenomates who the message is delivered to.
You just need to find a flying constrictor snake,
Yeah, or a little garden snake or something like that,
There you go, a little hog-nosed
There's got to be something like that out in the world of D&D, or we can make one anyway.
See, now I'm worried that if Kelly will share her new D&D book she got, Wardlings, it's the concept is you're playing children in D&D, but because you're children, you can see the imaginary creatures, so you have an imaginary pet with you at all times.
Oh my god, I need to be on this game.
It can do things like resurrect you if you die, and things like that. But in their book, it's funny because you're playing a younger adventurer. The flying snake is huge compared to what it is in D&D. It's like the size of the person's waist.
Yeah.
Because it's a wee child with a flying serpent.
Yes.
But it's totally it's got the animal messenger thing plastered all over it.
Oh yeah. So
I messages. Wow. I think I would have to fall back on GM skills for the term of message. When I GM, when things sort of get slow, when the characters, the players, so to speak, get lost, they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do, or they've just looted the dungeon, or maybe things are seeming to get a little bland. I like to throw in a message. Maybe for instance, the princess is in another castle, so to speak. Continue on the adventure to, try to push the envelope. Maybe the heroes, the players are having it too easy. Maybe they're getting through this dungeon and it's really just it's not a challenge for them. But now suddenly there's a messenger who delivers a message saying that the kingdom is under attack, and if you don't come now, everything will be lost. So they have to choose. Do I finish this dungeon and get the treasure, get the loot, or do I go save the kingdom that I'm fighting for? So I like to use messages as a tool, as a GM, to try to push the story forward or to raise the stakes.
I like that one, especially you could like horror movies do that too. You show up to the thing and you do the thing, and then there's the killer's message on the wall. Guess what? You defeated my minions. It was so easy because it was meant to be too easy. I'm really tearing up your own homeland. Come get me.
Right. I've kidnapped your daughter, or something.
That's very jokery. That reminds me of Joker.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the paladin sends a animal messenger with a message saying, "I am a man who has a special set of skills. Let my daughter go.
Or I'll find you and I'll kill you."
Do you get the message?
Yes. And I also get that reference. Anyway.
So
I feel like Captain America. I got that reference.
Exactly.
Hey, I mean, in fantasy RPGs like, D&D, Animal Messenger and Messenger Stones become really important because we're used to just picking up a cell phone and sending a message to a friend. In fantasy world, how does the split party communicate with each other?
That's the point. They're not supposed to split. You never split the party, man.
Right?
Because sometimes
that's when the bad shit happens.
That's always when the bad shit happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the fun happens, though.
That is true. When you hit the balls to the walls moment and the group finds themselves, because if they survive it, it's like, they survived war as a group. They're now tighter than ever.
Yeah.
Except for poor Bob, who died in the first round. But it's okay, because Bob is lightweight, so we can carry him as cargo back to the temple.
Oh, God, he's like a meat shield.
Never crossed the
it did occur to me, like, he's lightweight. We can go take him to get resurrected. Like, in my head went to, oh, he's dead. He's lightweight. Meat shield. Dear Lord, I messed up. Oh, dear.
Or just a necromancy in the making. We'll find out.
Do you get the message of what we think about you?
Oh, dear.
Everything is really a message in disguise. So for me, I'm going to pick the importance of secret messages at the game table, because I always like to take the GM overview.
Okay.
There's nothing more fun than when you write a little message on a note and you fold that piece of paper up and you slide it across the game table to either your GM or the GM to a player, and passing little secret caveat messages back and forth. Which, of course, I've noticed more and more in this day and age. The secret text messages of, check your Facebook, in the middle of the game, and then I have to whip out the phone, which I usually don't like to do, and say, okay, what was the message? Oh. And then all of a sudden you get that little secret message. Sometimes it's just someone messing with somebody. I mean, I've even done that where I've passed a little message across the table saying, write something down and pass this back to me. Especially if you're wanting to breed paranoia, like in a Cthulhu game or something along those lines. Are you guys there? You got really quiet.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I can hear you.
I'm being distracted by my dog.
I just got kind of worried. It got really quiet there, but I'm a huge...
No. I was listening and also distractions. Squirrel. I'm very squirrel.
There we go. Sorry about that.
So, yes. So, messages. Yes. Secret messages are in everything. No. Anyways.
Hey, when you're doing one of those games where you give each of the player character a secret mission, I'm a fan of doing that because that way when the player reveals something, all of a sudden you're able to info dump something to them that their character really should have known, but at the moment you didn't think about it, or you were giving the players an open world, and it's one of those of they really need to know this really quick because if they don't know this and they should know this, it's going to affect their judgment call.
Well, see, the thing about secret messages to players kind of thing, if you're trying to do like to share information with the rest of the group, that could also kind of turn, because what if you have a character who's like, oh, you give me this message to share with the others? I'm not sharing it. So that could be a good, interesting thing, or that could be a bad thing, I would think.
I've actually done that before where I've dropped an info drop that if he tells the group this, it'll make things so smooth. And then they're like, nope, my secret, not sharing it, because I'll share it when it's convenient for my character. And that wasn't even a scoundrel either. I mean, like in our Star Wars game last week that we had, literally the enforcer guy who was secretly sent there to go beat up a guy, as soon as we mentioned in the mention this guy, he immediately is like, oh yeah, that guy's an asshole. Actually, I'm here to actually have a conversation with that asshole. So we should go directly to that guy, and it literally shoved the storyline perfectly forward, which is great. Because, sometimes those secret messages really work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Except one thing that does not work at the game table is when too many people start texting, all of a sudden the phones come out and play because we are communal creatures, and that's a natural habit. Because they're like, is he secret messaging or is he Facebooking? Or is he really secret messaging someone across the table to say, what are we getting for lunch at the next break? I have also passed secret messages across the table to my players asking that exact question. Or saying, if you go to In-N-Out Burger, I'll pay for both of us if you'll fly.
That's hilarious.
DM bribing does in fact work, and a great way to do that is secret messages.
Little tiny GM bribes. I will do this thing for you if you do this thing for me.
Exactly.
Quid pro quo, RPG edition.
Wow.
And, I'll finish it off with a caveat of sometimes players just don't get the message. When you have something, players are going to go after something that will wipe them out in one turn, and you try to convey just how badly this is. Sometimes if they don't get the message, you just got to stand back, and it's like watching kids run with scissors. You can tell them to stop running with scissors, but at some point you just got to trust in the children with scissors and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then make sure...
Sometimes very
Make sure
badly.
you have a good HMO and a hospital nearby. It's all about dealing with the consequences of ignoring the messages.
Indeed.
So any last minute inspirations for message there?
Nothing pops. I just have pictures of fairy dragons with notes in their mouths delivering to people. There should be a D&D messenger service. I think I'm going to have a character that creates a messenger
it's
service.
Literally like for all the Game of Thrones fans out there, the Meisters with their crows,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, not crows. They would be like just ridiculous. All of a sudden, like a horse shows up at your door with a note in its mouth or something like that.
Actually, something touched upon really did sort of inspire me to say, have one last thing to say. Unspoken messages or uncommunicated messages, messages that are subtle, both by players and by the GM. There's a lot of communication going on with role-playing games. Any game. In fact, any tactician will tell you that communication is always happening in and outside of battle. That subtle little pieces of information can give you a message, can give you communication about your enemy, about your allies, or even about yourself, or how those two view you. And so I would sort of reel back and talk about awareness. And so messages really rely on awareness. And I think that really relates to role-playing games or games at all. Being aware in the game, both inside and in more of a meta sense, is very important to playing games. If you're not aware of what's being communicated with you, whether it's the rules, whether it's secret messages, or even maybe you shouldn't piss off the paladin right now. All of those things really define how the game turns out. And so I think uncommunicated messages would be something that's something that I think a lot of people, a lot of players, and even GMs should focus on or understand a little better.
That reminds me of the also fairy speak with messages. It's not the message they give you, it's what they didn't tell you that should perk your attention. What was the unspoken message in that message when they confirmed so many things but left so many blanks in their conversation?
Actually, when you said fairy speak, something popped up in my brain back from the old days where I played Vampire the Masquerade, like early Vampire the Masquerade. I remember there was like a feature for Malkavians about leaving secret messages in graffiti, but only Malkavians could read it because Malkavians are crazier. Yeah. So that just popped in my head. So that's another thing for message.
Because, crazy. Crazy is a superpower.
Yeah, crazy. It is a superpower for them anyway.
I have a habit in games of playing Malkavians, and it's the same reason why I always warn GMs against throwing Fae at me, because I think possibly I might have a little Fae blood in me. I have a habit of turning things around. There's this one game where I had played a D&D character whose soul was cursed, and I had traded my soul to this Fae and traded the curse with it, and ended up becoming undead and all that other stuff. But I was already undead. It was a whole thing. And the Fae, I ended up making a meme about it, because there's this whole meme where there was this movie, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but look at me, I'm the captain now. And I just looked at the other player, I said, look at me, I am the Fae now.
Another good Tom Hanks movie. We've made many jokes of the I'm the captain now. And that's why Talia's character in High Seas is the captain.
I am the captain. It wasn't planned. My captain, basically, the quote that holds her best, that describes her best is, "Hold my beer," or "Hold my rum." Actually,
hold my drink.
Yes.
I gotta go natural 20 something. Hold my drink. But and that's an important thing of the whole, as the joke with the fairy speak, of the whole, what message is not being said here that's being conveyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point there. And
that's pretty cool.
So, is there any other secret meanings or messages hidden in that you need to get out?
No, I think other than we need to play more games in the future.
More games.
Because I thought this whole thing originally was literally an RPG per day. And I got excited.
I'm sorry. But we'll sometime in the next 3 weeks, I'm thinking I'm gonna do a one shot each night on our Twitch channel, just to get more content on the Twitch channel that's game related as opposed to video game related, because RPGs are way better. That's why there's a whole tabletop section in the Twitch channel. But we'll get some more one shots going, because I've got speaking of message, I kind of brought it up to you guys earlier, but Alice is Missing is now been released for their Roll20. So I backed them on Kickstarter, and I've got their game book, and I've got to read that and find out what's the whole do for Alice is Missing, which is a silent RPG using text messages between each other. Something tells us it'll be using lots of thumbs, doing their little thumb thing. But, basically I'll be doing a week straight of 7 days of gaming. It might fall in the UK Game Expo weekend, because I'll be running Urban Shadows on Friday, on the 21st and the 22nd, or the 22nd and 23rd, whatever that Friday and Saturday is. I'll be running Urban Shadows that week, so I might just do it at the front half of that week all the way through the weekend. So we've got gaming all week of one shots, so that way you can drive it like you stole it and make sure you get the most fun out of your characters.
Ooh, that does sound fun.
Because there is something to be said about doing a one shot and not having to worry about destroying your character.
Yeah, that is always very fun.
Yeah, that sounds really fun.
I have
I myself, sorry. I myself am actually going to be running some final beta tests for my game, which once I get the short story backstories for the characters written, I'll sort of be kind of doing a shout out for players to do some recordings for it, probably podcast style or something like that. But I'm also writing a module in the meantime that, speaking of Fae, sort of starts out as a murder mystery in more of a futuristic cyberpunk kind of area that ends up in sort of, think of it like a Fae island almost.
The island of the Fae.
That sounds interesting.
The land of golden apples. So
there's a good loaded concept there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Lots of cultures.
There's actually a little bit of.
Yes.
Exactly. Celtic. So that, hopefully I can get that together soon and finish up the backstories. But
that sounds
fun.
So the message I'm getting here is you want us to play the game and have a good time.
Hidden meanings.
Oh dear.
I guess we messaged as much as we could message there.
Yes, I think we kicked this message into the ground.
Alrighty, guys, so we'll say that's probably a good place to wrap it up there for hashtag RPGaDAY August the 12th message. Then there'll be a little
Okay.
Alrighty, guys, thanks for popping on and joining in for the RPGaDAY.
No worries. And just next time you're gonna have a game you're looking for players, let me know.
Okay, you got it.
Yay! All right, I'm gonna. So I will talk to you guys later.
Talk to you later.
All right. Good to know.
All right,
Bye.
bye guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.